Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to your Mercury Retrograde Astrology predictions. I decided to try out a new microphone during a freaking Mercury Retrograde shadow period. So I don't know how it's gonna turn out to be. Please let me know in the comments, give me some feedback. And if you like it, if it's better than the old one, then I can be a living proof that yes, you can have good things happen to you technology wise during a freaking Mercury shadow period. So please let me know. I know the old microphone was so bad. I still have it, I still have it. I'm a Taurus. I keep my possessions. But anyway, let's talk about Mercury retrograde now. It's going to be happening between November 26 and December 16. Mercury is transiting in the sky in the sign of Sagittarius only. And as it travels over here, though, it's going to at some point make an opposition to Jupiter and also a square to Saturn. Now, Mercury is not as strong in the sign of Sagittarius. It is considered to be in its detriment because it actually rules Gemini. On the other hand, Jupiter is also in its detriment in the sign of Gemini because it rules Sagittarius. So these two planets are actually in mutual reception. And even though this is an opposition, it's a Mercury retrograde, it's considered not to be as strong, these two planets are still helping each other in the sky. They are communicating because they know how each other's houses work. They know everything around, the signs that they rule. So they can bring maybe a little bit of divine intervention here and help from God, the universe, whatever you believe in. We can still have some kind of easiness during this Mercury retrograde. Now, as these two planets oppose each other, they're also going to create a square to Saturn. The exact opposition between these two planets is on December 4th. At that time, Mercury is going to be at 16 degrees in the sign of Sagittarius and Jupiter is 16 degrees in Gemini. And they're still going to make the square to Saturn. Saturn at that point is going to be at 13 degrees. So, we are going to juggle, I feel like, between being overly optimistic and being overly depressed about certain things in our lives. But Saturn is the focal point here of the T square. So I feel like we're going to go towards being practical and down to earth. If you feel a bit of pessimistic, just keep in mind that this is just a short transit. Mercury does not last for a long time. I know this is a few weeks anyway, but it's better than a Pluto transit that lasts for years. So, keep in mind that this is just for a short period of time. At the same time, be careful with details. If you have to revisit certain topics, certain situations, if you have to revisit with certain individuals in your lives, make sure to weigh down the positive things and the negative things so that you can make the right decisions for you, because sometimes Mercury opposite Jupiter can make us a bit over optimistic and take that huge leap of faith, even though we shouldn't. But again, we're juggling between Saturn, that is so down to earth, and Jupiter, that is so optimistic with this Mercury retrograde. And I feel like we're going to make some decisions that are important for us at this moment. They are supposed to be made at this moment. And again, like I said, Mercury is not as strong here, but is still receiving some kind of help from Jupiter. So yeah, this is kind of the summary. And now, we're going to dive into the 12 zodiac signs. Please, if you resonate with my video or if you like my work, just show some support. Share this video with people that you think are gonna benefit from it, like, subscribe, and things like that. I really, really appreciate anything that you do. I really, really do. Now, I wish you the best of luck, and let's start with the 12 zodiac signs. Hello, dear Aries suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is going to be retrograde between November 26 and December 16 in your 9th house in the sign of Sagittarius. And for a lot of you Aries, it's going to bring opportunities to reassess and reevaluate their entire belief systems. Things that you thought to be in a certain way. Maybe there are certain situations that come or that happen to you that make you reevaluate, the way how you thought about these things. Some of you Aries are going to have communication come to you related to foreign travels, to trips that you do abroad, maybe also citizenship related things, foreign residency. Also, you may receive news, or at least you may have to reevaluate certain documentations or submit documents that are associated with these things. So something comes into, some situation comes into your life to where you have to submit documentation for these things. Others of your Aries may have the opportunity to maybe go on a trip to your school, maybe where you went to university. If you did so, maybe to your master's degree, you can have an opportunity here to revisit these places and go back to them. Others of you, if you're already in school right now, like in some higher education institution, then you may have to go back to certain projects, homework, to work on them, things like that, so that you can submit them at some point. I feel like it may be the end of the semester by the time this Mercury retrograde is over. So maybe a lot of you are going to have to go back to certain homework and details. But anyway, moving forward, some of you may have mentors, advisors coming back into your life with this Mercury retrograde. Maybe you reconnect with them, meet with them, spend some time with them. They challenge you maybe in your thinking process, in the way how you think about the world. They advise you also. You may ask them about certain situation that has happened maybe in the past in your life, and you're kind of talking about these topics in a very active way during this Mercury retrograde. Some of you Aries may really receive some good karma around this time. The 9th house is the house of good karma in ancient astrology. So, if you've done something nice for someone, maybe that is coming back to you directly or indirectly, in another way, in the form of a blessing. Mercury rules your 3rd house, so that's why I talked about, doing a lot of communication with certain individuals in your life, or receiving news or giving news. But it also rules your 6th house. So for some of you Aries, you may be you're taking care of your physical health, or like reassessing certain details related to your diet or workout routine that kind of challenges your belief system, how you think about them. So there are certain details that need to be, or revisit, like certain situations that need to be revisited when it comes to your physical health. So keep that in mind. Take care of your physical body. Take care of your immune system. Stay strong. Don't get sick. I'm not saying that you're gonna get sick, but I'm saying just be careful with Mercury here. And you can use all the knowledge that you have to be able to take care of your physical body, because Mercury is still in the 9th house. It's a positive house. Good things could happen. I don't want to make this less than it is. This is a good place to have Mercury retrograde in compared to the other signs. But anyway, moving forward, there's going to be a T-square in the sky around December 4th. And on this day, we're going to have Mercury still in retrograde at 16 degrees in an exact opposition to Jupiter at 16 degrees in Gemini. And these two planets are also making a square to Saturn. Saturn is in your 12th house. So for a lot of you Aries, you are really maybe wanting to explore the world and to travel and to go out there and learn new things, do new things. But there could be, for some of you, issues maybe related to mental health that are not letting you enjoy these things as you want, or there's some kind of delay because of this thing. Others of you may need to stay behind the scenes and kind of do certain projects that are your responsibility, and you feel like they're not letting you go out there and have fun, explore the world, travel, be on the road and things like that, because Jupiter is in your 3rd house of short distance travel. And so you may be wanting to go somewhere, but that square to Saturn is kind of keeping you maybe at home, or at least isolated a little bit from the public eye, from other people. You're kind of working on your own thing and not bothering to connect with others. And the good thing about this opposition, though, between Mercury and Jupiter, is that they are in each other's houses. They're occupying each other's houses, so they are actually helping each other. That's a good thing to have in the sky. Although none of them are strong, they're still helping each other in a mutual reception. That's how we call it. So you can still have opportunities to revisit with mentors and even siblings also, that give you certain advice and have certain situations rethought about and things like that. But you may be doing so in a very grounding way, very down to earth way. A lot of Aries are also setting boundaries in a very impressive way, like in a very good way, with Saturn in the 12th house. Some of you might even be thinking about like relocating somewhere foreign, far, far away. And with Saturn the 12th, that's what you want to be doing. But there are certain details that you need to be taken into account with Mercury in the ninth house: documentation, legal matters, topics related to foreign travels, things like that, passports. Also, there are certain details that need to be reevaluated here. And if you're not into any of these things, then this T square in the sky can indicate a desire and need to dive deep into your emotions, to connect with God, with higher dimension, with the universe, and to be able to expand your horizons and learn more through higher powers, learn more through God, learn more through prayer and meditation and spiritual practices. Saturn in the 12th wants you to be practical into these things. So during this Mercury retrograde, you may be very well doing so. But this is what I have for you, Aries, for this transit. Please let me know in the comments how things are going in your lives. I always read them. You know that very well. And if you liked and resonate with this video, remember to give it a like and to subscribe. Hello, dear Taurus suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is going to be retrograde between November 26 and December 16. And for you, it is going to be in your 8th house. For a lot of you Tauruses, you are going to be able to revise a lot of topics related to your shared resources and finances that you maybe have with a family member, that you have with a partner, or with somebody that you have in your life. It could also be with a child, it can also be with a friend. But for a lot of you Tauruses, you're going to have to review a lot of details or a lot of things related to these shared resources and finances that are maybe not as comfortable, because actually Mercury here is not that strong in the sign of Sagittarius. It is considered to be in its detriment. And as the Mercury is going to continue its journey in retrograde motion, it's also going to be opposite Jupiter, which is also in its detriment. And both of them are going to square Saturn as well. So during this Mercury retrograde, Taurus, like I said, you're going to review a lot of things related to your shared resources and finances. I feel like you are going to have to reevaluate how much money you're putting in, how much money a partner is putting in into your contributions for your shared resources and finances. For others of you Tauruses, you may have to deal with topics related to taxes, related to insurances, dealing with other people's money, alimony, child support, things like that. You may have to have a certain review, or there could be a certain situation that has you to review these topics. For others of you Tauruses, you may need to maybe have to deal more in the subconscious mind, like in an internal way, with your fears and self-sabotaging patterns. You may think about things that have happened in your past. You may have to review them. Maybe there is a certain individual that comes back to your life around this time that triggers certain things in you, certain traumas, or maybe fears that you had in the past, so that you can kind of understand what they are, you can process them, and eventually try to move away from them, and become stronger when it comes to it. Saturn is in your 11th house, so a lot of you Tauruses are reevaluating your long-term dreams and goals for the future. So whatever you are reassessing related in your 8th house matters, you are doing so by keeping your eyes in the prize, by keeping the eyes at the long-term dreams and goals that you have. You're aiming for something very important for you. And so all these situations that are coming back into your life or that need reassessment have to basically be aligned with what you want to do and what you want to be in the future. For others of you Tauruses, there could be maybe a friend that is supporting you and helping you around this time. Maybe it could be financially, maybe they are supporting you at the emotional level, supporting you so that you can deal with your difficult feelings, or in like extreme cases, if some of you Tauruses have a certain crisis going on in your life, then there could be a friend who's like a rock for you, who basically supports you and helps you emotionally. One thing that I want to point out about this Mercury retrograde is that yes, Mercury and Jupiter are both in detriment. However, they are in mutual reception, which means that Jupiter actually rules Sagittarius and Mercury rules Gemini. And so that is like You know, if I am at your house and you are at my house, and me and you can call each other on the phone and tell you, okay, if you go to this room, you'll find this. If you go to that room, you'll find this. So there is a certain communication happening here between the two planets that are in opposition. Even though, you know, like I said, this is opposition, maybe not as easy of an energy, there's still some kind of help, some kind of optimism that can come with this Mercury retrograde. One thing that I would advise Taurus is to just be careful with over optimism. Sometimes that happens when Mercury is in opposition to Jupiter. Other than that, I wish you the best of luck in reassessing this eighth house matters. And I hope that this energy is more on the lighter side for you. Please let me know how things are going in your life. Thank you so much for sharing your stories, your situations in the comments, in the videos, and in the posts. It's been amazing to read all of them. Yeah, thank you so much. It means so much to me to be able to read about your lives. So continue please to do so, and if you liked and resonated with this video, remember to give it a like and to subscribe. Hello dear Gemini suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is going to be retrograde between November 26 and December 16 in the sign of Sagittarius. And just like any other Mercury retrograde, you're affected, Geminis, because you are ruled by Mercury. However, Mercury is going retrograde in your 7th house, and for a lot of you Geminis, there can be partnerships coming back into your life around this time. There could be maybe, you know, if you broke up with someone recently, they may be contacting you. You may be contacting them also, to try to get in touch with each other, to try to maybe clarify certain things and come to good terms with them. You know, you may need to review certain situations that you have been going through together. If that's not the scenario for you, for some of you Geminis, then this can indicate restarting certain agreement, or going back to a certain contract, having to review certain details associated with it. Maybe going back to writing and rewriting certain contracts, agreements that are important for you Geminis. Jupiter is transiting your 1st house, and as Mercury continues to go retrograde in your 7th house, at some point is going to be opposite Jupiter and also squaring Saturn. And for you, Saturn is transiting your 10th house. So for some of you Geminis, you are trying to maybe save a marriage or save a certain partnership that is important for you, because you basically want to preserve and you want to protect your status, your public status. For others of you Geminis, you may be wanting to sit down maybe with an authority figure in your life because you're trying to save your career, or you're trying to get somewhere in your career. So there are these important conversations on one-on-one with an authority figure in your life that you are deciding to do. You may be the initiator of all of these things, because this is Mercury, like I said, it's your ruler. For others of you Geminis, these conversations can be simply with a family member. Maybe there's a family member that you want to fix your communication with, or you want to talk about with them something important, and so you decide to sit down and talk on one-on-one with them. And that is because Mercury also rules your 4th house, besides being your 1st house ruler. And so as you're doing so, Saturn is squaring this transit of Mercury. Jupiter is opposing you. So Jupiter is providing some protection for you Geminis, for sure, in your 1st house. But at the same time, it could bring maybe over optimism in these conversations that you have on one-on-one, or in these contracts, in these agreements. So please make sure to double check, you know, any kind of details that are shown to you, just like you do, you know, in any Mercury retrograde. Make sure to double check any details, and also make sure to be as clear as possible and to be very down to earth, because that square to Saturn can indicate you know, sometimes going on the more of the pessimistic side, and then Jupiter is there with the opposition, like going on the more of the optimistic side. So, make sure to find a middle ground. And I feel like a lot of you Geminis are going to find that you're going to be in the middle ground, to where you're optimistic, but you're also very down to earth in these relationships, partnerships, agreements, contracts that you're going to have to discuss. Some of you Geminis are also going to have discussions related to your real estate, your home, to relocating, to going somewhere else. So make sure to, again, be as clear as possible in these conversations so that you can benefit from them, and you can be more on the safer side. One thing that I want to point out about this Mercury retrograde is that that opposition to Jupiter indicates a lot of things, because Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius is considered to be in its detriment. Jupiter in the sign of Gemini is considered to be in its detriment. And Jupiter is important here because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, where Mercury is in. So anyway, I don't want to get too technical, but these two planets are actually in mutual reception with each other. So they are still communicating in a collaborative way. And I said it for one of the other signs, when two planets are in mutual reception like this, it's like me and you being in each other's houses. I can call you on the phone and tell you, if you go to this room, under the bed, you'll find this thing. And then, you do the same thing, you direct me in your house too. And that's what these two planets are doing with each other. They are directing each other between your first and seventh house. So I feel like although this is a Mercury retrograde and these two planets are not as strong, they're still communicating with each other. And that square to Saturn is going to help you, Geminis, and all of us to be very down to earth. Just keep in mind, don't get like no, I don't want to say depressed, because like that's such a strong word, but don't get sad, don't get discouraged. Just make sure that you do the right things for you, and you go into certain details so that you can get the best out of this Mercury retrograde season. But I wish you the best of luck, Sagittarius. Please let me know in the comments how things are going in your life. And just like always, if you liked and resonated with this video, remember to give it a like and to subscribe. Hello, dear Cancer suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury retrograde astrology predictions. This Mercury retrograde is happening between November 26 and December 16. And for you, it's happening in your sixth house in the sign of Sagittarius. A lot of you Cancers are going to have to review certain topics related to your physical body and your physical health. You may need to maybe go back to a certain diet, maybe review certain medication or certain health routine that you have in place, or workout routine that maybe is not as good as you thought it was, or you may want to dive deep into understanding it, into improving it, and also trying to maybe change a certain thing so that you can benefit more out of it. For others of you Cancers, there can be certain situations coming back into your workplace, situations and responsibilities also. The sixth house rules the house of, or rules the life of our career, our colleagues. So, people that we deal with on a daily basis, people that we work with. So for a lot of you Cancers, you can have certain responsibilities, situations coming back to you or coming back to a colleague at work, and you are witnessing all of this. Or this can indicate maybe a colleague coming back into your workplace. Maybe they were away in maternal leave, paternal leave, or they were in like vacation long term, and so they are coming back into the workplace. For others of you Cancers, you may have certain news coming back to you that is related to a certain situation that you used to deal with in the past, that can very well be tied to maybe daily responsibilities. Maybe before you used to go to a certain store very often, you used to buy a certain product very often for one reason or the other, and now you learn maybe through a sibling, or you learn through a family member that you need to go back to doing that same thing for a little bit while this Mercury retrograde is in session, is activated. For others of you Cancers, this Mercury retrograde can bring situations into your life that are associated with your mental health. So for some of you, you may want to maybe retreat, maybe you may want to spend some time by yourself, but at the same time there are daily responsibilities, things that you have to deal with on your daily basis that kind of keep you grounded and keep you quote unquote stuck in one place, to where maybe if you had planned to go somewhere, you might not be able to do so, or it's simply delayed, or you just have to review certain details associated with maybe vacationing or going somewhere else. That is because Mercury, as it moves into the sign of Sagittarius, is going to be opposite Jupiter, and the ruler of this Mercury retrograde is Jupiter, and Jupiter is in your 12th house. Another reason for that is because Mercury rules your 12th house in itself, so that's why topics related to mental health and also to vacationing, kind of isolating from other people, could be brought up, to where maybe you're put at a certain spot again in your life, or you just have to deal with certain details that are associated with these things. Now, Cancers, as I said, as Mercury continues to go retrograde, and then it goes direct, it's going to be opposite Jupiter, but also it's going to square Saturn. And Saturn right now is in your ninth house. So for a lot of you Cancers, you are wanting to implement, like I said, new things, or to change new things, or to go back to certain details in your health, and also in your workout routines and daily routines, and maybe work responsibilities also. But there are certain belief systems that are holding you, that are grounding you, that are keeping you down to earth. You may become maybe a bit over optimistic with this opposition to Jupiter, but at the same time, Saturn is making sure that you are staying grounded. There could be certain belief systems that are not letting you take a certain step ahead into changing a particular health diet, or health diet, or workout routine, or any other daily responsibility that you have. Or it can indicate, for a few of you Cancers, you may have legal issues, or international residency issues that are kind of not letting you take on certain responsibilities at work, or to start a new job, or to you maybe have to do more paperwork to start a new job, or these things could come in the way of, for some of you Cancers, in maybe relocating too. I feel like I mentioned like so many things right now, but these are all topics related to this T square in the sky. And it's going to be a T square, and the focal point is Saturn here. So Saturn in the ninth house can indicate that there is something in your ninth house matters that is basically keeping you grounded, asking you to be very practical and down to earth, but also you could feel like it's like a blockage for you. So just be patient. Make sure to review a lot of details, a lot of things associated with your sixth house matters. Mercury retrograde is not for no reason here. It is to help a lot of you Cancers to review certain situations related to your sixth house matters, so that you can move forward afterwards as Mercury goes direct. Another thing that I want to point out about this Mercury retrograde is that Mercury is in its detriment in the sign of Sagittarius, and Jupiter, which is the ruler of this Mercury retrograde, is also in its detriment in the sign of Gemini. However, these two planets rule each other's signs. So Jupiter rules Sagittarius, Mercury rules Gemini. So these two planets are in mutual reception. That indicates that they are still helping each other in one way or another. So I feel like, even though there's going to be challenges and these planets are not as strong, a lot of you Cancers are still going to receive some kind of divine intervention or help from God, the universe, to be able to make the right choices for you, or to have some kind of divine intervention, like some kind of help associated with all of these things, all of these matters. Another reason for that is because Jupiter is in your 12th house, transiting your 12th house, so you are definitely receiving some kind of protection from the higher powers. But yeah, I wish you the best of luck for this Mercury retrograde, dear Cancers. Please let me know in the comments how things are going in your life. And if you liked and resonated with this video, remember to show some support, to give it a like, and to subscribe. Hello, dear Leo suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is stationing retrograde between November 26th and is going to go direct on December 16th in your fifth house in the sign of Sagittarius. So, for a lot of you Leos, you're going to have to review topics and situations and conversations with your children if you have children. For some of you, there could be certain situations happening in your life or in their lives that are having you review certain details, certain things. You may even have to go back to an old situation and try to fix it or to review it. For a lot of you Leos, you may also have to help one of your children deal with something important in their life. Maybe somebody comes back into their life or a situation comes back to them, and so you kind of have to intervene and help them out to be able to resolve it and to fix it. For others of you Leos, this help that you're giving for one of your children could be related to your personal income. You may be using your personal finances and resources, your ability to make money, to be able to help them out, to provide for them, to help them financially. For others of you Leos, you may have to review a certain topic with one of your children related to your long-term dreams and goals for the future, or their long-term dreams and goals for the future. There could be certain documentation that needs to be reviewed, certain situations that need to be reviewed, details, people that have to be met and conversed with so that you can go ahead and kind of move with a certain long-term dream and goal that you have with this child or with your children. If you don't have any children, Leos, then this Mercury retrograde can bring a romantic partner back into your life. This can talk about having butterflies and excitement back to your life because of a person that comes back to you. You may be able to run into somebody that you had, a particular romantic interest in, or they somehow make their way into your life again. And this individual can trigger your self-esteem and also the way how you feel about your self-confidence, and this can go both ways. Maybe they trigger something that is not as good, or they boost your self-confidence again to where you're like, oh, I knew this person was going to come back, and you're like all excited and happy about it. So it can go both ways. It depends on your personal chart also, and also in your life experience and personal decisions. But for others of you Leos, during this Mercury retrograde, you may be out and about having fun with your friends, maybe going out to do something that you used to do together for the longest time, going to some bar, some club, drinking, or simply, looking at the stars, going on a ride, whatever you used to do with your friends. You might be able to do so during this Mercury retrograde. This transit is bringing something back into your life. And I'm talking about friends because Mercury rules your 11th house and also rules your second house of personal finances that I mentioned earlier. For others of you Leos, you may have an opportunity to make money through risky investments. Maybe an opportunity is coming back to you around this time. Maybe you are going into or there's a certain situation or individual that tells you something, or you pick up something from somewhere and you realize that you could make money out of some sort of risky investment. So you go all about it with this Mercury retrograde. Now, just with all of these things that I've said, just be careful because this is still Mercury retrograde, and Mercury is not considered to be strong in the sign of Sagittarius. It's actually in its detriment. The ruler of Sagittarius, or the ruler of this Mercury retrograde, is Jupiter, and Jupiter is also in his detriment in the sign of Gemini. However, as these two planets are going to be in opposition as Mercury continues in this retrograde journey, they are still helping each other. They are actually opposite each other on December 4th. Like, that's the exact date at 16 degrees in the sign of Gemini and Sagittarius. But like I was saying, these two planets, although they are in its detriment, they are still helping each other because they rule each other's signs. So although there are certain situations that need to be like very clarified or going back into and things like that don't seem as promising in the beginning, these two planets are still indicating that there's still hope, there are still opportunities to make things work and to be able to resolve them. As Mercury continues the retrograde journey, is also going to be in a T-square with Saturn. So Mercury opposite Jupiter in a square to Saturn. And Saturn is in the sign of Pisces in your 8th house. So for some of you, Leos, you will want to maybe go out and have fun, go on a certain trip or have fun with your friends, entertain and do things like that. But you have to basically check your bank account. Saturn in the eighth house is quote unquote limiting you or educating you to be able to be more responsible with your shared resources and finances. So although you may be wanting to go somewhere and do something, again, Saturn here is asking you to be responsible. And that's what some of you Leos are going to do, because Saturn is the focal point of this T square. For others of you Leos, this transit can also indicate, this square to Saturn can also indicate deciding to be very down to earth when it comes to your fears and self-sabotaging patterns, because there could be either one of your children or a friend that could have triggered a certain uncomfortable situation in your life, or maybe has made you a bit insecure, and you are deciding to have this certain conversation, or this person somehow comes back into your life. And so a lot of you Leos will be reassessing if you really want this person back into your life or not. So Saturn in the eighth house is going to remind you of maybe fears and insecurities that this person or this situation brought to you, and ask you to be very realistic and down to earth about it. One advice that I have is that, with this Mercury and opposite Jupiter, sometimes we become over optimistic. So be aware of that, be careful. But I feel like with the T squared to Saturn, a lot of us are going to decide to be down to earth, like, hands down. At the same time, the square to Saturn, Mercury square Saturn, can bring pessimism and these feelings of guilt and things like that. So be aware of that. Be careful. Don't take it to your heart. This too shall pass. It's just a short transit. But, make sure to take the right steps and to have the right conversation so that you can get the best out of this. I wish you the best of luck, Leos. This is what I have for you. Please let me know in the comments how things are going in your life. And if you liked or resonated with this video, remember to give it a like and to subscribe. Hello, dear Virgo suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury Retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is going to be retrograde between November 26 and December 16 of this year in the sign of Sagittarius in your 4th house. And of course, Virgos, you are going to be very affected by this transit. That is because Mercury rules you, Mercury rules your 10th house, and it is located in your 4th house, which is again an angular house. So basically, all areas of your life can be affected by this Mercury retrograde. But one of the scenarios that could happen for you Virgos could be related to conversations, important conversations, maybe with family members, maybe a partner, or an authority figure related to your home, related to your house, related to your place of living, to your real estate, and basically where you live. You may have to review certain details about this place. You may have certain conversations to talk about if you really want to be in this place, where you want to go, where you want to relocate, how you want that new place to be, and having to resolve a lot of details associated with it. And you Virgos are excellent at details, so I don't doubt you in that at all. But just keep in mind that Mercury here is in his detriment in the 4th house, so make sure to be very careful with all of these details associated with real estate and home living. For others of you Virgos, this transit or this Mercury retrograde can bring somebody back into your life who is a family member, or at least they can, open up certain topics and conversations that are from the past that are important to you, maybe in the hope to kind of amend things. And if it's not for that, then these conversations can be related to relocation, like I said, but also to career and public status and public reputation. Some of you Virgos may be discussing if you really want to live with someone, if they want to live with you, if you want to have certain roommates, family members, living in your home environment. Some of you may be discussing bills and conversations about, your home environment, how much everybody's contributing, things like that. Mercury, like I said, rules your 10th house. So for some of you Virgos, you may have a heart-to-heart conversation, maybe with a boss, with an authority figure. That is going to be very important for you. Again, just be careful to be down to earth and to recess all details, and to kind of maybe hold back into certain conversations that may not be as good for you. And that is because, Mercury is not strong in the sign of Sagittarius, but also the ruler of this Mercury retrograde, Jupiter, is in Gemini, which is its detriment sign. So these two planets are not as strong right now. And as Mercury continues to move retrograde, it's going to at some point be in opposition to Jupiter. And that's going to happen specifically on December 4th at 16 degrees. So as these two planets oppose each other, just be careful of being over optimistic or maybe overlooking certain details because you think that they're going to work. You don't need to worry as much about it. Just make sure to review a lot of details in a very down to earth way, in a careful way. Now, as Mercury continues to move in the sky in your fourth house, it's going to square Saturn and it's going to be in opposition to Jupiter in a T square. So, for a lot of you Virgos, if you have those issues with being over optimistic, the Saturn is going to really make sure to keep you down to earth. For some of you, there could be a marriage partner, a romantic partner, or a binding contract that is keeping you in place and is somehow making you feel like you're blocked, maybe making you feel like you can't go somewhere else or you can't improve your home environment, home situation. Maybe you live in a place where you've signed a leasing contract that expires way later than you think, and so you feel like you need to still stay in the same place even though you may be wanting to move somewhere else or go somewhere else. For others of you Virgos, there could be a partner that is not letting you maybe progress in your career or not letting you feel like you're valued maybe in your home environment. For some of you, there could be emotions or conversations that are related to emotions and how you feel with a family member, with a romantic partner, a marriage partner, a business partner also, or with an authority figure. Your entire chart is activated, Virgos. You're one of the most impacted signs, besides Sagittarius, I would say. You're one of the most impacted ones. So just be down to earth. And Saturn here in your seventh house can teach you a lot of lessons about partnerships and things like that, and contracts. But the square that it makes to Mercury in your fourth house can make you feel like things are not going anywhere, or can make you feel a bit down to earth. If you feel like that, just keep in mind that this too shall pass. It's just a short transit. Don't take it too hard. Just make sure to be down to earth, to be realistic in your approaches. One thing that I do want to mention that is very important is that even though Mercury and Jupiter are both in its detriment, in opposition to each other, they are still helping each other because Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Mercury rules Gemini. So they are in mutual reception around this time in the sky, and they are still helping each other. They are still instructing each other. So I feel like, even though there can be situations that are not very easy to deal with, I feel like a lot of you Virgos are going to have practical approaches and practical resolutions that are not going to be as hard as it would be if these two planets were in like different signs that don't communicate with each other. They're actually helping each other out. So if you have conversations, like I said, maybe with a family member or an authority figure, you might feel like you can still somewhat understand each other and still come to good terms with each other, or be on the same page at least, after having to review certain situations, certain conversations, and other things in your life and in their lives also. This is what I have for you Virgos for this Mercury retrograde. I wish you the best of luck, and please let me know in the comments how things are going in your life. You know that I always read them. And if you liked and resonated with this video, remember to show some support, to give it a like, and to subscribe. Hello dear Libra suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is retrograde between November 26 and December 16 in the sign of Sagittarius in your third house. So for a lot of you Libras, you are going to have to review and review and review your communication a lot of you are gonna be like, did you tell me something? Or what was it that you were gonna tell me? Or you said is this, right? Not the other one. And then the other person is like, no, no, I said the other one. So, there can be a lot of communication mishaps and like, having to go back and forth to review certain details and certain things. But for others of you Libras, there could be certain situations coming back into your life associated with your siblings, associated with your neighbors. Maybe a neighbor moved out at some point, they're moving back into your building or in your neighborhood. For others of you Libras, this transit can indicate reviewing certain situations with your siblings. Like I said, maybe having to clarify certain things with them, to go back into certain details. For others of you, you may just get a certain news that you were expecting, or that you maybe thought that is going to take longer, now it takes faster, or the other way around. For some of you Libras, you may even have maybe a mentor coming back into your life, trying to reach out to you, trying to talk about a certain situation that maybe was left in the past for some time. For others of you, you may have to review a certain project that maybe you're doing behind the scenes, kind of hidden from the public eye, that belongs only to you, and now you are basically reviewing a lot of details, or thinking about it, thinking about details, and like reviewing a lot of things that could make your work more efficient, that could make your work a little easier and a little better. For others of you Libras, this transit can indicate having to rethink about certain details if you are in the writing industry, publishing and marketing, car sales also. Those careers that deal with the third house, even with clients. Some of you Libras, maybe if you have a clientele, you might have a certain client come back to you to have to review certain details, or to touch on certain project that you had together, kind of hidden from the public eye, and private between you two. Some of you Libras are going to have communication sent to you related to foreign travels, related to citizenship, and foreign residency, international travels, relocating to foreign lands, because Mercury rules your 9th house and 12th house. So for a lot of you Libras, you're going to have important communication associated with that. If you're looking to get into university or to some higher education institution, then this transit can definitely bring some news associated with that, or maybe having to submit documentation details and things associated with this higher education institutions. Some of you Libras may be rethinking and reassessing maybe your belief system. There could be certain situations, opportunities that give you kind of an aha moment that you have to revise and review, so that you can kind of fix it or change it up, so that you can get the benefit out of this situation in your life. Now, one thing that I do want to mention is that Mercury is actually in its detriment in the sign of Sagittarius, and the ruler of this Mercury retrograde is Jupiter, which is also in its detriment in the sign of Gemini. As Mercury transits in the sky in this retrograde journey, it is going to be opposite Jupiter and square Saturn. It's going to be a T-square in the sky, which can indicate for a lot of you Libras, you are maybe going to reach for the stars and hope that you can achieve maybe some something associated with like your higher education or higher knowledge or a certain belief system, but still Saturn in the 6th house is going to keep you down to earth, because you have to take care also of some responsibilities in your life. There could be certain things you have to do on a daily basis that you feel like are binding you and not letting you maybe travel a bit more, or to go to these foreign lands, or to talk to people from foreign countries, foreign lands, because you're so busy on your daily basis. For others of you Libras, there could be maybe a health issue that is not letting you relocate somewhere else, or like going on a trip. Maybe you want to go to a country that has certain foods that don't sit well for your stomach, or where your physical health is right now. And so Saturn in the sixth house is going to make you be more down to earth, and to take a practical approach to your daily responsibilities, and to put a lot of emphasis and focus on them, because Saturn is the focal point of this T square. Now, one thing that I do want to mention is that yes, Mercury and Jupiter are not as strong in these two signs, but they rule each other's signs. So Jupiter rules Sagittarius, Mercury rules Gemini, and these two planets, because of that, are still communicating with each other. They are still, quote unquote, helping each other. It's like me and you being in each other's houses. I call you on the phone, I tell you, if you go to this room, you're gonna find this certain thing, and you tell me the same thing. We can direct each other in each other's houses because we know how it is there. So that's what these two planets are doing between your third and ninth house. Yes, they're not as strong, but they are still helping each other. And that means that for a lot of you Libras, you're going to have to reassess this higher education matters, relocation matters to foreign lands, and also foreign travels, communication style, maybe the thinking process that you have for yourself. You're going to reassess these things, but you're going to receive more of like a divine intervention and help, especially with Jupiter in the ninth house and such a positive house for you. So you still have some kind of divine support and help. But the square to Saturn, is not as easy, especially with Mercury being in the third house of thinking process. You may feel like it's like, you may not feel as optimistic. You might not feel as hopeful. So please, keep that in mind, that this is just a short transit. It's going to pass soon, because Mercury moves very fast in the sky. So don't take things at heart if they don't go the way you think they do. And just do your best to have things resolved into your life, so that you can basically move forward as Mercury leaves the retrograde period and continues to move forward in the sky. This is what I have for you Libras for this transit, for this retrograde. I wish you the best of luck. Please let me know in the comments how things are going in your life, and if you liked and resonated with this video, remember to give it a like and to subscribe. Hello dear Scorpio suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is going to be retrograde between November 26 and December 16, and for you is happening in your second house in the sign of Sagittarius. A lot of you Scorpios are going to reevaluate your personal finances, and the way how you make money. A lot of you are going to be rebudgeting around this time, calculating and thinking where your money is going and where it should be going. A lot of you are also going to have conversations with your family members or a partner that you have shared resources and finances with, because maybe you want them to contribute in a certain way, or they want you to contribute in a certain way. And so the topic of your personal finances is brought into attention with this Mercury retrograde. I'm talking about shared resources because Mercury rules your 8th house and also your 11th house. So for some of you Scorpios, you're going to reassess and reevaluate if you are making as much money as you want to make, or if you're making as much money as you are dreaming and wanting to be making in the long run. So you might go back into the talents that you have for yourself to be able to increase your possessions and your finances and how much money you're making. For others of you, there could be a family member that is helping you financially, Scorpios. Maybe you have a certain situation going in your life, so there is somebody being there for you, supporting you, taking care of you. And this very well can be, like I said, a friend. For others of you, it could be the other way around, to maybe a friend of yours is kind of in trouble and you help them out with your finances. There could be a certain situation that is coming back basically into their life and you're helping them out. Some of you Scorpios are going to have somebody pay you off if they owe you money, or the other way around, to where you pay them off if you owe them money. So there is a certain situation happening here that is coming back into your life related to your personal finances and resources. Some of you Scorpios are also going to focus on your self-esteem and your self-confidence. There could be a certain situation that triggers either the lack of it or triggers the comeback of your personal self-confidence and self-worth. This situation can be related to maybe certain traumas or insecurities that come back from your past. Some of you Scorpios may talk to an astrologer or a psychic person that really helps you increase that self-confidence and give you maybe more hope for the future also. For others of you, this transit can indicate maybe achieving already some long-term dream and goal that you had for the past, or having a certain goal coming back into your life to where you're like, I think I want to go back to wanting to do a certain thing because that's what's best for me. So there is reassessment here happening for a lot of you Scorpios. Now, as Mercury continues to move retrograde in the sky, it's going to at some point make a opposition to Jupiter, which is in your 8th house. And these two planets are going to be opposite each other on December 4th, exactly at 16 degrees. And there is a lot of conversation here happening related to your personal finances and also shared resources that you have with someone. And at the same time, you are really focusing on trying to resolve the situations, maybe with a partner or a family member that you have shared resources and finances with. The other thing is that these conversations can be related to your children because Saturn is transiting your 5th house. So a lot of you Scorpios feel binded, or like you feel like you have a lot of responsibilities related to your children that is not letting you maybe spend the money the way you want to, or you have a lot of financial obligations associated with them. So there's a lot of reassessment that you want to do so that you can afford certain expenses for your children, or to talk with a partner, so that they can also contribute in a certain way so that you can basically take care of your children together. Now, if you don't have kids, then this transit, this T-square between Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn can indicate that you may be wanting to spend money for a romantic interest. Maybe they like certain things and now you want to rebudget for yourself so that you can buy them nice things, take them out, entertain them, go out together, have fun and things like that. Saturn in your 5th house is going to make you, still responsible. When it comes to this romantic interest, if you have that situation going on right now. But again, there is a certain intensity that is happening here, maybe disagreements that are happening related to your personal finances, where you are and where you want to be, and also how much money you want to invest. And as you are thinking about these things, you still want that person into your life, maybe that romantic interest, or also your child, like I said earlier. If you don't have any of these happening, then a lot of you Scorpios are putting money down for a hobby that you have, or a creative ability and skill that you have, because you want to maybe make money out of it. You want to monetize it. And so Saturn in the 5th house is asking you to be responsible, down to earth, to build a structure, to be very practical in the way how you express this hobby and this creative ability that you have. And Jupiter in the 8th house is telling you to maybe expand in your clientele, or to heal from like self-sabotaging patterns or self-sabotaging situations that are not letting you, monetize or make money out of this beautiful endeavor that you could be putting in place with Saturn in the 5th. And so this Mercury in your 2nd house is, having you reassess your personal finances and having you, reassess a way to make money out of this creative ability and skill that you have. There could also be talents that you had in the past that you put a lot of emphasis on, that you are deciding to bring back with this transit, to use them so that you can increase your personal income, and you can also have more fun and also express your creativity in some way. But this is what I have for you for this Mercury retrograde, Scorpios. I wish you the best of luck. And please let me know in the comments how things are going in your life. And if you want to show some support, please like, subscribe, share this video with the ones that you think are going to benefit the best out of this. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Hello, dear Sagittarius suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is going to be retrograde between November 26 and December 16, and it is going to be in your first house. So you're definitely the most impacted sign, dear Sagittarius. Another reason for that is because Mercury rules your 7th house and Mercury rules your 10th house. So your angular houses are activated basically with this Mercury retrograde. But what can this indicate for you, Sagittarius? A lot of you are going to reassess certain things about your character and your personality, certain things that you thought you had within you, but now a certain situation could be happening in your life that makes you reassess it and go back to it, or rethink about certain qualities that you have in your individuality and who you are as a person. For others of you Sagittarius, if you've had some sort of beginning or initiation in your life, then this transit can indicate you going back to certain details and reassessing them and fixing them and changing them up so that you can have a more of a successful initiation for yourself. Because the first house is the house of our beginnings, of things that we start to do for the first time in our lives. For others of you Sagittarius, there could be a certain partner coming back into your life also with this transit, a certain partner that triggers something in you, in your individuality. And this could be for good or for bad. It depends on your personal chart and also on your personal choices and also on your past. But there could be a partner that ignites something within you that you thought was lost, or you thought that you didn't have it over there, because Mercury rules your 7th house, like I said earlier. For others of you Sagittarius, there could be a certain contract that needs some kind of reassessment, or asks for, you know, looking at details or signing and resigning things. And it's a contract that is very important for you, that somehow you identify with. This can be a marriage contract, this can be any contract that is very important for you, because, you know, like I said, Mercury rules your 7th house. For others of you Sagittarius, you can have a career change, or like a certain situation that changes something in your career with this transit, because Mercury rules your 10th house. So there could be a certain detail about your job, about your work, or maybe an authority figure that changes something in the way how you identify. Because, you know, a lot of people do identify with their professional life, with what they do. If you talk to them, you know, they'll say, I do this for 8 hours a day, for 9 hours a day. And so sometimes we tend to identify with our career. So if that is the case for you, then there is a change or something that needs to be thought about and revisited in your career responsibilities or your relationship with authority figures, that somehow impacts and affects the way how you identify with it, and how you identify with yourself. For others of you Sagittarius, there could be an authority figure coming back into your life that remembers you in a certain way before, and now you know you have changed, and so you know you kind of surprise them, and you have, you know, certain conversations happening between you and them, and you basically show that you're like a different person now. I feel like that's very specific and could be a case just for a few of you, but definitely a scenario. On December 4th, Mercury is moving retrograde in the sky. It is going to make an opposition, or an exact opposition, to Jupiter. The ruler of this Mercury retrograde, it is Jupiter in itself. and Jupiter is in its detriment in the sign of Gemini. At the same time, Mercury is also in its detriment in your first house. However, these two planets are still communicating with each other because they are in mutual reception. So you may have a lot of conversations between you and a romantic partner, a business partner, or somebody in your life that is important to you around December 4th that can make you maybe a bit optimistic about the future. But this opposition is also receiving a square from Saturn, which is in your fourth house of your emotions. So a lot of you may be feeling like you need to reassess and go back to these old conversations, maybe with a marriage partner, romantic partner, and that make you feel a little bit binded or a little bit like not as optimistic. Let's use positive words. Not as optimistic with Saturn in your fourth house. And so some of you Sagittariuses can have conversations that maybe are not as easy to talk about with a partner. That could be related to what did you do? What did I do? I felt like this, you felt like that. You are making me do all these things for us. What are you doing for us? Saturn in the fourth house can make you feel like you have so much to take care of in your family, in your home environment, in your responsibilities that you have for your life. And as we have this opposition going in the sky, those things can be more emphasized. But like I said, Mercury and Jupiter are still helping each other in the sky, so you can still maybe come into a certain agreement or have some sort of clarity as Mercury goes direct afterwards with a partner related to these topics that I'm talking about. Some of you may also have these conversations not with just a partner, but family members also, because Jupiter rules your fourth house besides ruling you. You can be the initiator for a lot of these things, Sagittarius, because Jupiter is also being activated here. Mercury is in the first house of you, so you may be the one that rocks the boat. But whatever you decide to do, I wish you the best of luck, and please let me know in the comments how things are going in your life or in your lives. I always read them, I always respond, and I wish you the best of luck in everything. If you want to show some support, you can like, subscribe, and share this video with the ones that you think are going to benefit from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next one. Hello, dear Capricorn, suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury Retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is going to be retrograde between November 26 and December 16, and for you, it's happening in your 12th house. So this transit may not directly affect you, Capricorns, but it is still there. It's still a Mercury retrograde, and a lot of you are maybe going to travel to certain places that you have been to, maybe go and travel internationally, also go on a vacation that is familiar to you, that you've done it before, so now you decide to go over there again and do it again. For others of you Capricorns, this transit can indicate need to maybe review certain spiritual routines that you have in place, taking care of your spiritual health, such as meditations, yoga, religious activities also can be here, believing in a higher dimension, the relationship that you have with God and the universe. You may be rethinking and reassessing these things, or maybe going back to certain routines that you used to have in place before. Like, for example, if you used to read the scriptures, like the Bible and things like that, maybe you decide to go back to that routine for a little bit. Or if you used to meditate every morning, do some yoga poses, then you decide to go back to that with this transit. A lot of you Capricorns may even need to go back to a situation that made you feel a bit isolated from the world. Maybe you travel somewhere, or you are with somebody that makes you feel like you are kind of separated from the rest of the world. Others of you may take on some responsibilities at work that have you work behind the scenes very heavily, having you maybe to reassess certain details, think about details, go back to maybe problems that are associated with these responsibilities at work, certain projects also. So you may be doing all of this behind the scenes and kind of hidden from the public eye. Mercury rules your sixth house. That's why I'm talking about daily responsibilities and work responsibilities also. But Mercury also rules your ninth house for you. So that's why for a lot of you Capricorns, you're also maybe reassessing and reevaluating your belief system, your relationship also with your mentors that you have in your life, with religion also, with authority figures in your religion, if you have one. And some of you may even have to reevaluate documentation associated with relocating somewhere foreign, relocating somewhere far away, or simply to travel internationally. Some of you Capricorns are going to submit documentation related to citizenship and residency, foreign residency, and others of you maybe have to work on legal matters behind the scenes, having to, reassess certain details associated with those things. Now, as Mercury goes or moves forward in the sky, it is going to create an exact opposition to Jupiter, which is going to be in your sixth house. Mercury is going to be in your 12th. They're at 16 degrees at this point. This is around December 4th. We're going to feel the energy 3 days before, 3 days after. The other thing about this opposition, though, is that both Mercury and Jupiter are in the signs of their detriment. However, they do rule each other's signs, so they're still communicating in a positive way with each other. This is called mutual reception. And so they're guiding each other through this opposition, through this transit. So as you're dealing with your daily responsibilities, maybe you will be able to reassess what is working for you, what is not. As you're wanting to fix certain spiritual routines, you're again reassessing what you should be doing and kind of balancing out with your daily responsibilities and what you have to do every day. Now, as this opposition is happening in the sky, there's still going to be a square to Saturn, and Saturn is sitting in your third house for now. And this can indicate wanting to maybe take a more spiritual approach because of, feelings of pessimism with Saturn in the third house. So keep that in mind. If you feel a little down for a little bit, this too shall pass. Don't take things at heart. Because we have a square here between Mercury, the planet of thinking, and Saturn is also in the third house for you, which is the house of your thinking process. And so, like I said, take a down to earth, practical way to deal with this energy. Maybe you can write in your journal, maybe you can communicate your worries and concerns to somebody that you trust, or you can kind of connect with God, with higher dimensions in a very practical way, such as visiting temples, visiting places of worship, going to places of prayers, things like that. This can be some practical ways that you can deal with this energy, Capricorns. Jupiter rules your 12th house. It also rules your third house. So again, you have this activation of communication and also being a bit isolated from the rest of the world. But this energy can manifest more on the mental and interior level, other than something exterior, something big, and large happening in your life, unless you have, planets in other signs. But this is what I have for you. Please let me know in the comments how things are going for you, how things are going in your life. I always read them. And if you want to show some support, you can like, subscribe, share this video with the ones that you think are going to benefit from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll see you on the next video. Hello, dear Aquarius suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury Retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is going to be retrograde between November 26 and December 16 of this year. And for you, it is happening in your 11th house in the sign of Sagittarius. So one of the things that could unfold for you, Aquarius, is the return maybe of a friend or a group of friends into your life. Maybe these are people that, you departed ways, they went their own way, you went to yours, and now something happens. There is a situation that is happening and that kind of brings these individuals back into your life. You could be spending time with these people. You could be going out and about, having fun together, maybe drinking something, entertaining yourselves, because Mercury rules your fifth house of fun. So you can definitely kind of reconnect with some family, or with some friend or group of friends. Others of you um, Aquarians, I had a comment say that it's not Aquariuses, it's Aquarians. I have to remember. Sorry, English is not my first language. But for you, this transit can indicate having to reassess some long-term dreams and goals that you have for the future. Um, you maybe are like thinking into bringing something that you used to like a lot to be doing in your future, and now like you kind of reassess it, think about it, and you realize that maybe it's time to bring it back, or time to aim towards it, to kind of have this thing happening in your life. This can be dreams, a long-term goal that you've had that kind of makes you excited about your life. It makes you feel with joy. It makes you feel happy. It brings happiness back to you because, like I said, Mercury rules your fifth house, and the fifth house sometimes is seen as the house of happiness and joy and excitement, things that make us be very happy. For others of you, though, this transit can indicate thinking about some self sabotaging patterns that you realize are keeping you from realizing your true potential, realizing your goals and dreams for the future, because Mercury also rules your eighth house. So you may be thinking and reassessing these things for yourselves. For others of you, this transit can indicate having to review your finances, especially shared resources and finances that you have with a partner or with a family member or with one of your children. You may be reassessing, thinking about details, thinking about financial rewards that you can get out of these shared resources or investments even that you have in place. Some of you may be going back to a stock market, for example, investment that you had in place, maybe deciding to buy it again or to sell it. You may be doing something with your investments over here with this transit, but you're going back to something that you had in place before, or at least reassessing certain details about something that comes from your past with this retrograde. As Mercury continues this retrograde journey, at some point is going to be in opposition to Jupiter, and the exact opposition is on December 4th. Mercury is at 16 degrees on this day, Jupiter is at 16 degrees, and Mercury is in Sagittarius, Jupiter in Gemini. And these two planets are not considered strong in these signs. However, they do rule each other's signs. They are in mutual reception, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius, Mercury rules Gemini. So, although these two planets are not as strong, they are still communicating and with each other in a positive way. It's like me and you being in each other's houses. I said this example to the other signs as well. It's like me and you being on each other's houses. I call you on the phone and I tell you, if you go to this room, you'll find this object in this place. And you do the same thing for me, so we can communicate because we know how it is in each other's houses. So that's what these two planets are doing. They're guiding each other through this journey. And for you, it's happening between your 11th and 5th houses. So although you may have to deal with an old situation, maybe with a friend, you're also thinking that maybe you should go out and have fun and like kind of drink something together, take a lighter spirit, and have to fix things with this person. However, as these two planets are in opposition, they're also going to be in a square to Saturn. So we have a T square in the sky. And Saturn for you is in your second house of your personal finances. So you may want to go out with friends, like I said, have fun together, but you also have to keep your personal finances in check. Make sure not to spend too much, or at least to budget in a very practical and down to earth way, in an intelligent way, in a structured way, so that you don't spend more than you should. For others of you, this T square can indicate having to reassess your self-confidence. There could be situations with friends that maybe have triggered something in you that you don't feel very happy about or secure about. So as you're having these conversations and these revisions with these individuals, you may even decide to, part ways, or you may at least bring it to the surface self-confidence issues, or, explain to them that you felt in a certain way or that you weren't valued. You can create some boundaries here with this type of retrograde. There is a square, between Saturn and Mercury, and this can make us feel a bit pessimistic and not very hopeful about the future. So keep that in mind. This too shall pass. It's just a short transit. Don't take things to heart. However, if you do need to set boundaries with people that you feel like have not respected you or have triggered something in your self-confidence, then maybe you should with this Mercury retrograde. Things like that, will be surfaced for some of you. Now, another possibility that could happen here is having to revisit topics with your children from the past, things that have happened in the past, having to review them, having to go through certain details, maybe to explain them certain things. Jupiter transiting your fifth house is having a lot of you try to expand in the way how you flirt, in the way how you connect with romantic partners. And so as you do so, this transit can bring like an old romantic interest, but with Saturn in the second house, you are really evaluating your self-confidence here. And if that's not the case for you, then maybe you're just reevaluating your personal finances. Do you have enough money to maybe attract this person to you, or to impress them, or to buy them things, or take them on a date? Things like that could be troubling your mind. And I know that, for some people, this is not the way, how you do things. We all have a certain style in how we approach our romantic interests. But for you, Aquarians, this can indicate, this could be a possibility, definitely for a lot of you. But this is what I have for you, generally speaking, for this Mercury retrograde. I wish you the best of luck. Please let me know in the comments how things are going in your life. In your lives, I always read them. And if you want to show some support, you can like, subscribe, share this video with people that you think are going to benefit from this. I wish you the best of luck, and I will see you on the next one. Hello, dear Pisces, suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your Mercury retrograde astrology predictions. Mercury is going to be retrograde between November 26 and December 16 in your 10th house of your career, public status, and your reputation in the sign of Gemini. So a lot of you Pisces are going to have maybe opportunities, old opportunities that can open up for you again related to your career. A lot of you may hear from maybe interviews that you've done if you've been looking for a new job, for work. You may be hearing from hiring managers. You may be hearing from old bosses, old authoritative figures in your life that are kind of reaching out to you, maybe related to a career opportunity. And if not, these could just be authoritative figures that are just reaching out to reconnect with you. For others of you Pisces, at your work, at your job, you may have an old boss coming back. Maybe they're visiting, so you kind of interact with them during this Mercury retrograde. Mercury rules your 4th house. So for a lot of you, topics related to relocation can be brought up during this Mercury retrograde. Maybe you are thinking or rethinking about moving somewhere else, maybe because of career opportunities, work opportunities. Others of you may want to move in or move out with someone, maybe with a romantic partner or a family member. You might be having some kind of change in your status because of it. If you have somebody moving in with you because of a marriage, for example, your status is changing, or is at least you are revisiting these details so that you can kind of influence your status and how other people know you. Mercury also rules your 7th house. So Pisces, you're definitely actually one of the most impacted signs here with this Mercury retrograde, because your angular houses are being affected. But there could even be a romantic partner that comes back into your life, and they may be doing it in a very visible way, because the ruler of the 7th house is now in the 10th. So there is maybe a romantic partner that comes back out of nowhere into your life, wants to hang out with you, wants to be with you, wants to chat with you, and they may be doing so without caring how other people think, or they may be doing it very visibly. Maybe they comment on your social media, or they come to your work, or they come to your house, they knock on the door, or they text you. I don't know. They may be doing it in a visible way, or at least maybe you make it visible also to other people. You let your family members know, friends. You're like, oh, this and this happened. This person reached out to me again, texted me, my ex or something. That can also be a scenario for a lot of you. For others of you, Pisces, there could be maybe a contract that needs reevaluation around this time. Some certain agreement, some certain contract, some certain written communication or written binding agreement that needs reevaluation. That could be very well connected to your work. That could be very well connected to your place of living also, and also it somehow affects your public status, and how you're known in the world. Like, for example, if you have a contract, a leasing contract, that's an agreement. And so there are certain details associated with it that need to be revised. Maybe you want to renew it, maybe you don't want to renew it with this Mercury retrograde, and that somehow affects your status. Maybe you're not known as somebody who leases, maybe now you're known as somebody that owns a home. Maybe you're looking to buy a home, because like I said, Mercury rules your fourth house also. So you might be thinking about relocation, and at least going back to certain details about relocating. I'm not saying that the relocation is going to happen now. I'm just saying that you're thinking and calculating a lot of details, going back to a lot of this important information so that you can eventually make this happen. Yeah, I feel like I've touched most of the important points. Now, as Mercury continues in the sky, it's going to make an opposition to Jupiter and a square to Saturn. So we're going to have a T-square happening here. Mercury is in your 10th house, like I said, and Jupiter is in your 4th house. Jupiter is asking a lot of you Pisces to expand in your home environment. Jupiter has been on a square to Saturn. It's going to get back to this square. In December, we're going to feel this energy the most. But, we have a T-square in the sky, and Saturn is in your 1st house. So a lot of you may be reassessing relocation, expanding your home, redecorating your home, refixing your home. But there's a tension that's being created here because maybe certain details have not been accounted for. So you have to review a lot of things if you are looking to relocate. There could be situations or details that are brought to your attention. And with Saturn in the 1st house, it could be that you are the one that is very responsible about these things. You could be the one that is like, I don't want it this way, I want it that way. You could be the one that is setting boundaries. And honestly, I don't know how things are going in your lives individually, but I am very proud of a lot of Pisces that I know in my life, because and I'm a Pisces sun myself, but I feel like a lot of us have set these healthy, wonderful boundaries with a lot of people that I'm just so proud of. Like, I feel, at least in my life, I absolutely needed that. But I know that a lot of Pisceans that I have are doing the same thing. They are setting these amazing boundaries, and I'm like, let's go get it. So this is great. You could be the person that is setting boundaries. Now, the thing about this T-square is that Mercury is not in its strongest position here. Jupiter is not in its strongest position either. So make sure to still be down to earth, not to feel scared, but at the same time not over optimistic about all these wonderful decisions that you need to make in your life that are associated with 4th house matters. Like I said, relocation, home, family dynamics, things like that, but also career, public reputation, and also your partnerships, whether they are romantic or business partners. So make sure to be down to earth. Now, the square from Saturn to Mercury can make a lot of you feel a little pessimistic, and like you have to do a lot of things. So keep that in mind. If you feel a little down, don't take it to your heart, because this is just a short transit. So be careful. It's going to pass soon. Mercury moves very fast in the sky. And I know it's in a retrograde, no, it's a few weeks. It's not just a little bit, but like, it's still going to pass. It's better than 3 years or something, like a Pluto transit. But anyway, there's as Mercury is moving here, it's creating this opposition to Jupiter. But the thing about it, the positive thing about it, is that these two planets are in mutual reception, because Mercury rules Gemini, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. They are in each other's houses here. And I feel like we still have some divine intervention here to make some good decisions, even though we have to reassess a lot of things. Just be careful of over optimism with Mercury opposite Jupiter, or over depression with the square to Saturn. Just be down to earth, and like I said, keep in mind that this too shall pass. Just be careful with details and reviewing things, being intelligent and smart about all these important decisions that you have to make in your life, related literally to everything: home, career, partnerships, your identity, how you want to be known to the world. Important decisions are happening for you, Pisces. But I wish you the best of luck. Please let me know in the comments how things are going in your lives. And if you liked and resonated with this video, remember to give it a like and to subscribe.